Hi, and welcome to another episode of Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Brenda Masson. Today, our guest is Angela Dawn. Now, you may remember Angela Dawn from our Valentine's Day special. We talked about color, bringing color into our lives. Angela is the founder of Live Life Colorfully. She's also the founder of Heaven and Earth, and that is actually the umbrella organization for all the different facets of things that she does, is Heaven and Earth. Angela Dawn, welcome again to Fresh Waves. We are so fortunate to have you.
Oh, thank you. I always love being a part of your show, Brenda. It's amazing. Thank you.
It's so nice that I can have one guest that can talk to so many different subjects.
I've been doing this for a lot of years.
You have. We won't go into that because you and I are still so young at heart.
That's true. We are.
We are. I call people our age my joyful listeners and my joyful clients because they are just older youth.
Well, and for me, life's all about experiencing joy. So that works perfectly.
There we go. All right. So
thank you.
Today you are putting on the hat of an ecstatic dance facilitator. Can you tell us what is ecstatic dance?
Definitely. Because I know right away people get scared by the term ecstatic. They think, what is this? Is it some kind of rave? I personally got into ecstatic dance for healing. It is the most fascinating way to connect to your body, to release stress, and to honestly reconnect with youth. You know, we were dancing before we crawled. And so I love ecstatic dance. It follows actually some structure, even though the dancing has no structure. It follows structures of 5 rhythms. But the beautiful thing in a nutshell is this is a dance that you don't have to follow a facilitator. You don't have to be trained in. You don't have to be a great dancer. If you move, your body's talking to you. And this is what it's about. So it's really an hour and a half of time that just allows you or anyone dancing to just be within themselves and to have that time to move their body and listen to it and release any stress, any tension, anything that's going on. And it's honestly so much fun that I started running them about 7 years ago. And then because of the whole pandemic, they stopped. Now I have a new location, very excited, in Witcher, Stouffville. And I absolutely love the fact that I've brought them back and their monthly dances.
That's amazing. Now, when you talk about the fact that you don't have to be a dancer, I think that's really important for listeners because when people hear dance, either they think of a dance over at the Legion where you're going to take your sweetheart or meet a sweetheart and go dancing for the night. Mm-hmm. Or the wallflower syndrome kicks in where people start to shiver and shake and are terrified of the fact that if they're not drinking or talking that somebody actually might ask them to dance and then they're going to have to decide whether they will or not. And then they would spend the next 10 minutes dancing to some song wondering if they are doing it right or not. And there really is no right or wrong way, is there?
No, and I find that so sad. In doing this in all these years, one of the things I found really surprising on my journey with ecstatic dance is people are really scared to dance. But I'm going to say honestly, Brenda, I believe this is in North America. I believe it's an issue on our continent because if you look anywhere else around the world, dance is such an expression of community, of happiness, of joy, of celebration. It's a place where we are in unison and we do this together. And then somehow in North America, we have believed that dance is a scary thing that has to involve a substance to get our inhibitions down. We have to be dancing with someone or, attending a dance with someone or, we're judged. I don't know where all this came from, but it's really sad because honestly, it's just a form of expression. And, one of the things my tagline with this is we dance to express, not to impress. So when we have an ecstatic dance, it really brings us back to what I'm going to say our DNA, our soul, our spirit actually knows, which is movement to music, movement to a beat. And so when we start to actually just even close our eyes and feel a rhythm, we actually will start to move. It's our body's natural way. So with something like this, you're not showing up necessarily with someone. This is a dance for you. It's an hour and a half of time just for you in comfy clothing, may I say, barefoot, with no alcohol or drugs. It's meant to be, we have a live DJ, but it's meant to be, you are there for you, just to move. So there's no need to be scared. And everybody's different and nobody judges, because honestly, nobody's looking at you. Everyone's doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's actually a very important thing to consider, because I think in cultured dancing, Western cultured dancing, I must say, qualify that. You know, you have these scenarios of the old ballrooms in London where everyone knows what step to do, and the big courts where all the women are presenting themselves and the males are showing off like peacocks. And there's a definite footwork happening. There is something that you must be doing at a specific time, and if you go the wrong way, you're going to smash into someone else, and everybody is looking at everyone else. But when you do ecstatic dance, you're very much in your own world, and short of you don't want to dance into someone else, you kind of carve out your own space within the group, and nobody is watching you because they don't care. It's about them.
It's so funny. You know, when I first was exposed to ecstatic dance, I had a herniated disc in my back, and I love music, and I always loved dance as a kid growing up, but I couldn't really move. But my friend said, just come, you know, and even if you just sit in a corner or just feel the music. So I did. And I remember standing there and just, at first you feel kind of strange, right? Because you're like, what? And then you're seeing all these people dancing around and you're like, okay. And I just closed my eyes and I could feel the vibrations. And I started to imagine my body working to go through its healing process. Anyway, needless to say, I realized in no time, no one cares. No one's looking at me. They're just doing their own thing. So little by little, I started to attend, and I found more and more. I found I was freer. I found every dance I moved differently. I found sometimes my arms wanted to do things. Sometimes my feet wanted to do things. And it's, you know, I explain to people, it's like dancing in your living room, except you're with a bunch of people with a live DJ, and it's so much fun. And people can go crazy, and you do bump into each other once in a while, but you just laugh and you just, you know, squeeze your shoulder and off you go. Like you're not threatened. And definitely you're not in a place where you feel like, I don't know, like I'm going to say from a woman's perspective, like I don't have to worry about like, you know, am I going to get picked up? What do I look like? You can show up with a ponytail and no makeup on and nobody cares. It's just because you're there for yourself. So really you're dancing in your living room in a much bigger space with a live DJ, and you're just tuning into who you are. But the beautiful thing is we start in circle and we end in circle. So there is community. We always have a theme to our dance to try to see if, you know, you can get a little bit deeper. Like March is actually getting into shine your light. So we get a little deeper into what does that mean? How can you dance with that theme and really focus inward? And at the same time, we dance for the hour and a half, and then we end up closing in circle as well. So there is social aspects of it. It's a community. Like it really is a community. And once you learn and you go to an ecstatic dance, they're all over the world. I've been to them in California, Vancouver, Montreal. They're everywhere. Yeah. People go to Bali, Indonesia. Like, so once you know the term and you get what it is, it's so cool. And the DJs are just fascinating. Like, love them. And they're all different, all very different.
Well, I did a workshop through the Expressive Arts course when I was studying to be an expressive arts practitioner. And one of the aspects of expressive arts, obviously, is dance. And every time people hear expressive arts, they say, oh, you paint? No. As a matter of fact, I don't. But arts includes dance, drama, all the different aspects of the arts. And the facilitator, Dorrit Osher, who is Canadian, she's, I think, from Western Ontario. And she was conducting this workshop, and through the workshop, she was asking you to carve a straight line in the room with all these other people. There's 17 people in a room that is not the size of a gymnasium. And she said, okay, so you walk your straight line. And there were some people who just walked on, very bold, very big, walked on. There were others that tentatively walked and kind of kept an eye on everyone else in the room and chose their path accordingly. Or chose a path in anticipation of what they anticipated someone else was going to do, if you know what I mean. And what ended up happening was we did this several times with several different boundaries put on the exercise. And finally, we were instructed to walk in our straight line with our eyes closed. And not one of us hit anyone else. Because when you become aware of the energy around you, and the people and how they move around you, you don't smash into them. So I've been to ecstatic dances where it's virtually pitch black, and I've never hit another soul.
No, it's
and
so
I've
true.
started at one end of the room and ended up at the other. So it's amazing how when you're concentrating on what you're doing, your energy creates its little aura around you, and people are respective of that and they can feel it. So they don't smash into you. It's not this chaotic free-for-all that people think the word ecstatic kind of denotes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ecstatic was actually brought up by Gabrielle Roth, who started the 5 rhythms and this wave of music to allow our spirits to be free. It's all about our physical, emotional, our spiritual, our mental well-being, to get back to our real self, to be that wild, free spirit. So ecstatic is about that. It's not about like I said, crazy raves. You know, the 5 waves of music actually start in a meditative space and end in a meditative space. The middle is what they call chaos, but chaos is actually at a place where as we grow with the beats per minute and we start to expand and heighten the beats, chaos is the place where we finally let go. We just let go and we just dance, whatever our body wants to do. And then as we maneuver back down, it's almost like a rebirth. And, you know, I've had people say, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe, like, I've had soreness in this shoulder for years and it just feels like it finally released. Or someone else said, oh my gosh, I've never smiled for that long, you know, in so long. Or
what a downside.
I know, but it's exactly. Or feeling like a kid again, you know. I always have in the final circle, we always say a word that kind of, you know, is a synopsis of how we're feeling for the night. And the words are always like freeing and grateful and just words that are so profound. And you can see on everyone's face, they just have this like breath of like, and they're smiling and they feel great when they leave.
Just like little kids when they dance.
Yeah, which really, you know, we're all seeking joy. We're all seeking how to live in present moment. You know, we're all looking at ways to really enjoy life and to be in this space. And honestly, dance is a great way to be there. And I don't know about you, but for me, being in my 50s now, you know, I don't want to go to a club that doesn't have people come out till midnight. I don't really drink. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't want to have to dress up and I just don't. I don't have to like do all that. So for me, it's like I could dance and be home in bed by 11, which I love. I have the freedom. I have great music. I connect with amazing, like-minded people. And, you know, you can also just sit in a corner and just enjoy. Like if you're not feeling up to it, you just do what you need to do. But I just find it's my joy. And I love watching other people so happy when they leave. It's just a beautiful thing. But I always say, if you haven't tried it, try it at least once, just to experience it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes when you do go to an organized dance and everyone's doing the 2-step or the box step or whatever they think they're doing, you will see the 1 or 2 people who just let loose and dance like no one's watching. And to go to a place where you can actually do that, where you can dance like no one's watching, is wonderful. And I like shows like Grey's Anatomy, where when the family everybody's fighting and they're all in bad moods and everything, and they've had a bad day at the hospital, and it's all so fake. But the one thing I really love about that show is when they come home and they dance it out with their kids. And they just say, okay, everybody, let's dance it out. And people are just dancing and they're having such a great time. And it is so relaxing.
It really, and it's such a great workout. People forget too that, you know, we all struggle with this whole weight loss, you know, industry. when you move, your body wants to move. It's meant to move. So when you move to the limit that you allow it to, like, you don't have to overdo it because you're not there for anyone but yourself. So when you just move, you're burning calories, and you're also like, you're allowing your muscles to feel great again and release that stress. So it's so healthy for so many reasons. I know from.
Sorry, I was just going to say that one of the benefits of it is the mental benefit. Like, it just has a huge impact on your psyche. I mean, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, he wrote a book called The Body Keeps the Score, and it's talking about PTSD and things like that. And he says, in order for a brain to heal and reach its full potential, it must learn to create and play freely. And dance is such a playful thing to do, isn't it?
100%. And if you ever watch those little videos, online of kids dancing. Oh, yeah. They're just dancing. They don't care, right? They're just free. They're free of anything. So, yes, 100%. 100%. So I think I like to call it to a language. I really do believe our body has a language. And sitting at the computer all day and, not moving or moving like quickly because we're always in a rush, we don't hear the language. And our body will speak to us. It will tell us where it's sore, where it's holding tension, where it's holding trauma. If we tune in and allow it to move the way it wants to move, it's going to tell us a lot. So I always tell people at the beginning of an ecstatic dance, this is your language. It's your body. Move the way it wants to move, but listen to it and connect to it because it's telling you something. And that is a huge awakening for so many people.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you facilitate these ecstatic dances, do you actually shout out things during it? Like, let's slow it down, let's speed it up, move to the right, move to the left? Nothing like that?
So not at all. There's no talking on the dance floor because, again, this is for you. It's not about chit-chatting to your friends or, it's again, you taking an hour and a half to be quiet and go within. So think of this as meditation. Some people say they can't meditate. Meditation isn't always sitting in peace and breathing and saying Om. It's actually, you can move and allow your body to release and listen to your body. That's meditative as well. Mm-hmm. So there is 5 levels. And, in a nutshell, it's like they're called flowing, staccato, chaos, lyrical, and stillness. And each level has a different range of beats per minute that the DJ will follow with, I'm going to say, approximately 5 songs per section. So it automatically has this feel where you'll feel it starting very slowly, and then your body will start to go, oh, here's how my feet move. Here's how my body wants to move. And then it picks up pace a little bit. And you're like, oh, this is a fun song. Up until like chaos where you're like just letting go, going, finally, I feel free. And then when you come through lyrical, you'll be like, oh, that was so good. Now your body's coming down from that energy and that cycle. And then stillness is you end up back in almost a meditative state. Some are actually on the floor in meditation. So the only thing you're really doing on the floor is you're shouting out to the DJ to say like, woo, like we love it. Or, some people like will start clapping. We bring a djembe drum sometimes, or shakers. You can play along. Noises like that, but it's not about talking, right? It's not about doing, if you know the song, if there is a song in there that you do know, then sing along to it. Great. But it's not about chit-chatting. Mm-hmm. If you want to, you go out into the lounge and chit-chat. You can always leave the space and go chit-chat, but the space is sacred. The space is just for each person to do their own thing.
So walk us through what a night at Ecstatic Dance would be like for a person who has never done it before, because without any instruction, it might be a little daunting.
Yeah, and we do talk about it at the opening circle, and I'm happy to always talk to anybody ahead of time too. So right now we've got them, which I love, at the Vandorf Community Center on Woodbine, once a month, normally Wednesdays. March happens to be the only Tuesday, but a Wednesday night. And so we open the doors at 7 o'clock. You have between 7 and 7:30 to just come into the space. Stretch if you want to, talk to a few people and just connect, because we actually are a community. There's great people that show up. And then we start at 7:30 actually in a circle, which means normally I talk about the themes. I introduce my DJ, say thank you to who I need to say thank you to, answer any questions anyone has, and explain how the night will kind of take place. Then we find a spot on the floor, which you can move around, but we start with a spot on the floor, and the DJ will actually start with very, again, meditative, soft music. This is when you can actually just relax and breathe and say, okay, now I'm in my time. Then we move through the hour and a half rhythms of 5 rhythms. When we come back to that meditative place, I play a special song where everyone knows, okay, dance is over. We get back in circle. We take a moment, we share how we feel, what's going on, if you want to. We end with a word. And then actually we have about 45 minutes that we just stay in community, and we get to meet each other, and we talk, and we connect, and we just, or what's happening in your world and what do you want to share? So it's just really a beautiful space, and then you get to go home. So it's over at 10 o'clock, and you'll be heading home at that point. So it's, again, very simple, very easy, and it's a beautiful, beautiful experience. So it's nothing anyone has to worry about. I also just, have 2 sections set up that I call meditative corners, where if during the dance you just want to go sit and meditate, you can. I bring angel cards. I bring beautiful colored scarves from Bahamas and Hawaii and all of my places I've traveled that you can grab and play with, because you know me in color psychology and color energy.
Yes, I do.
So to wrap yourself with a colorful scarf and play with it, it's just, sometimes you bring a hula hoop. Like, the whole point is, again, you're there to do what you want to do. I had one girl just fall asleep in the corner, and that was her hour and a half. That's okay. It's whatever you can do. So you don't have to be in shape. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to show up with anyone. You can come on your own. And it's open to anyone 16 plus. Again, drug and alcohol free, men and women of all denominations, kinds. I don't care. Anybody's welcome. You're there with love. It's good to go.
Wow, that sounds great. Well, we have to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll delve into this a little more deeply with our guest, Angela Dawn. I'm your host, Brenda Masson. This is Fresh Waves, and we will be right back. Stay tuned. Hi, this is Brenda Masson, host of Fresh Waves. If you would like to hear other Fresh Waves podcasts, you can go to our YouTube channel, Freshwaves Radio. Hit subscribe. We love to have subscribers. And we have all kinds of shows there, podcasts and previous shows with Angela Dawn. I'm sure you'll find them fascinating. For now, we're going to get back to the show. So with no further ado, Angela Dawn, I have a question for you, my friend.
I hope I have an answer.
You have the 5 rhythms, and these 5 rhythms will circulate through the night.
Mm-hmm.
Do they circulate once or twice, or?
Once. So
okay.
So think of it as approximately 20 minutes each.
Okay.
Approximately. You're so busy in your space and dancing, you don't really think about it per se of where you are. Your body will just naturally go with the flow. It's a real beautiful soft wave.
Okay.
So yeah, it's only once, again, starting in a meditative state, ending in a meditative state. So it's very simple to follow along.
So you go from flowing to staccato to chaos to lyrical to stillness.
Exactly.
So when you transition into these different areas, is it simply that the music changes tempo?
Yes. So each area has different beats per minute, and they will slowly rise. So actually, your first and fifth level have the same beats per minute. Your second and fourth level have the same beats per minute, and your third is the highest, if that makes sense. Think of it as a hill, right? You're climbing up the hill, and you're coming down the hill.
Okay.
So
now, when you get to the third level, which is going to be, it's the one called chaos, you can kind of, in your mind, if you've never done this before, conjure up crazy people dancing and with arms and legs just splaying everywhere and spit coming out of their mouths and eyes wide open and crazy. And I mean, it just seems like something from a hippie movie in the 1960s. But what is it in reality?
I was going to go spit flying. It's actually just at a place where your body finally releases. You just finally, your body will feel, it's like warming up. Do you know when you're doing a cardio exercise and you have the warm up and then you're finally in the intensive part of that exercise? Yeah. That's where you are. You know, your head, your spine, your hips, your feet, everything just feels looser and you're able to move faster. So it breaks us free of old beliefs, old thoughts, old control. And it says, guess what? You're just moving now. And it's sometimes you can actually be like, whoa, I never thought I could move like this. But it totally, I want to say, collaborates and aligns your body to the rhythm. So it's just about release, but it's not release as in like it's going to look like a bunch of people that are scary. It's just moving in a place where, you know, we don't know what's coming next. I think we also live in a society that we always have to think about what's next, what's the next step, what's the next feature, what's the next, and that's not it. This is in the exact moment in time, your body is just allowing. And that's the beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. It's your big dance. It's just where you just let loose, if that makes sense. But it does
make sense. It does make sense. But yeah, I've had a lot of experience with dance like this in a therapeutic kind of way. So I just think that for people who've never done this before, and of course that's what we do here on Freshwaves, is we always kind of play to the lowest mm-hmm. common denominator, so that people who are feeling a little intimidated can maybe not feel so intimidated because they've listened to this and they now understand it a bit more. So what about people with disabilities? Would they be able to participate in ecstatic dance?
Oh, please. I've had so many different people come through those doors for sure, from all different types of walks of life, disabilities. Interestingly, which I love to promote, because I love this man to bits, my DJ is visually impaired. He's actually blind.
Wow.
And he is the most fascinating DJ. Love him. Always loved him as a DJ. And now he's moving into ecstatic dance DJing. And, you know, it's so interesting. He did the second one for us in February. And one of the girls who's attended my dances for years after said in circle, that Angela was the best ecstatic dance you've ever had. And it's because of my DJ, his name's George, but he goes by DJ GQ Sounds. And so George not only is a phenomenal DJ, but he's also our Olympic track athlete. He's currently in Dubai right now racing. He's 8th in the world currently. So he's on our Olympic track team for Canada. He's also a Zouk Brazilian dance champion in Ontario. And he's played hockey for 4 years and soccer. And, you know, I like people to know when we sit in circle, like, here's a phenomenal person that will show you are not bound and restricted. Anything's possible. I mean, our DJ's blind, you know, yeah. You can do anything. And so I find him so inspiring. We actually are starting to record the dances, and then I'm going to hopefully put them on my YouTube channel. And then people can also listen to them as well. Now, one thing I will say, which is cool, so yes to disabilities, anything, especially even people in recovery, because I said no drugs, no alcohol. It doesn't matter. It's again, just show up. It's mm-hmm. just, it's you doing you. you know, like,
so if someone has a bad knee or, you know, they just had a hip replacement or something, they can come and just dance to their comfort zone.
Yeah, or sit. I had a person in a wheelchair before. I've had people with Down syndrome. I've had people with I'm just thinking tons of different things. It doesn't matter. Again, it's you. No one judges. We don't care. If you're there and you're kind and with love, that's all that matters. Just be kind and be with love and you're good. So as long as you're there to just be in that space, you can sit. It's all fine. It doesn't matter. What you do with that hour and a half is yours. You have no responsibilities, no kids to take care of, right? No work to do, no phone to check. It's just there.
She says as my phone dings in the background.
So yeah, just turn it off. But I was going to say, you know, I tell people who do come, try to come to 3. Now, if you come to 3 of mine, great. Each one's going to be different with a different theme, with different music, but even 3 different ones, because I find it's really cool. Like if I go to the Toronto Ecstatic Dance that happens weekly on Thursday nights, and it has for years and years. I go down pretty frequently every week to every second week. And that dance has a lot, not only does she bring in DJs from all over the world, a lot of them have real musicians. I've been to dances with like full set on drummers, saxophone players, flute players, like everything. I've been to dances that have more, EDM music, more Spanish or, European flair. There's been a dance where the guy plays the accordion. My dance has a lot of, George is actually Ghanaian, so there's a lot of like Afrobeat, reggae, soul, R&B and funk kind of vibe to it and feel, which I love. It's some of my favorite. So every dance will have a bit of its own feature with its own DJs. And I mean, the music still goes through the 5 waves, but the vibe can be different. So that's okay too, right? And it's fun. So you can try different ones. And that's something, and I've started following DJs from all over the world. I learned and danced with Liz Diaz. She's now in Peru, and she has dances and also teaches and facilitates out there as well. But her dances were very different compared to, someone like George who's doing his. So it's fun to experience and try all different types once you get into them and see what you really love and what works for you.
Yeah, that's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. And what a freeing thing to do, as you were saying. That's a perfect word to describe it. It's just kind of a freedom feeling. Yeah.
And when you're free, people forget, but then all of a sudden everything shifts, your mindset changes, your creativity enhances. You start to, when you're more positive and you leave a space like that, feeling like you just let go, whatever was bringing you down, you're definitely, as I say, shining your light brighter, and the world needs that. So the more we can shine our light brighter, then the better the world's going to be. So it's not just for you, but I do find it will create a beautiful ripple effect to everyone in your life when you start doing things like this that really embody being in the present moment.
So when is your next dance?
Next one is March 21st. So again, it's the only Tuesday, only because I couldn't get the March break. So otherwise, if you go to the website heavenandearth.ca and go to events, you'll see a list of every single date for the rest of the year. So you can always put it in your calendar. And I always have tickets online, or you can pay at the door. But yeah, it's $25. And if you've never been before, reach out to me. I'll give you a promo code to come try it out with a bit of a discount. And, I'll give your money back if you don't like it.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone ever getting their money back because it's
I have to admit, haven't yet.
Yeah. I will vouch for it. I've been to one of your ecstatic dances before, and I've been to other ecstatic dances, and it's just great. It really is great.
It's just fun.
It is fun.
It's really simple.
I think when people go to events like weddings, or even when you remember back to your high school dances, at the end of it, you've just had a really good time. And part of that is the people that you're there with. Part of that is the fact that, it looks like the party atmosphere or whatever. But part of it is the dancing. And I think in an ecstatic dance, it just gives people a venue and a space that's safe and expressive. It's just fun.
That's exactly it. It's safe and expressive. I love it. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Safe space, loving community, non-judgmental, open-minded, kind, accepting, and you could just express the way you want to express.
So when you first discovered this, how did you discover it?
I had a girlfriend who took me down to Liz Diaz's dances down in Toronto. And again, I had a bad back. I had a herniated disc, couldn't move much, was really missing movement. And she knew I needed some healing and said, come with me. And so I went down, and I was, just really honestly taken with the whole vibe of it. And so all of a sudden it's funny, right? It's like when someone says to, hey, I bought a red car, and then you see red cars everywhere. I once I heard of ecstatic dance, they started popping up everywhere. And then I started finding out about all these other dances that were occurring in the area. So I thought, let me go check this out. So I started going to Liz's, and then I started going to the one in Toronto. Julia runs that one. And I just started to really go, what's this about for me? And I just kept on leaving, feeling better, moving more, strengthening my body, releasing. And that hour and a half gave me a lot of mental clarity. I also want to say, like, in a sense, I think when I was going through all that pain, it was a place for me to just remove my mind from the pain and know that my body was capable, and I just had to give it some time and patience to get back to where it was. And so, yeah, and I mean, I still have a herniated disc in my back. One reason I dance is because it keeps me moving. And so for me, I just started to fall in love with it. And then I traveled. And when I traveled, I was, oh my gosh, here I am in Vancouver. There's an ecstatic dance. I was like, I'm going to go to this because I also know I can go by myself, right? And then I went to them in California, like I said, and they were all different. They were all really different. Montreal, but I just started falling in love with them. And I just fell in love with the community because, again, to walk into a space that's just so accepting and so loving.
That's really a big thing, isn't it?
For me, it was like home. It was like finding my tribe. You know, it was just finding amazing people. And I've kept in touch with people now from all over. So, yeah, it just was a progression for me. But I also always loved dance. It was always something I loved growing up. I love music. It's on in my house every day. And, you know, I just think the older I got too, the less I wanted to like hit the clubs, and you start feeling old, you know, like I don't want to be dancing, you know, with kids that are like, should be my kids. And it just started feeling not the same. And I didn't feel comfortable and safe going on my own, where here I do. You can show up alone, no problem.
Yeah, I think that's a big selling feature of ecstatic dance. I actually went to an ecstatic dance that was all drumming. It was all percussion. There was no other instruments involved, and it was live drumming. Cool. And it was so good. I actually had a woman turn to me and she said, I've never had this much fun without being drunk.
Exactly. We're going to do a drumming circle actually when the weather warms up. We're going to do that ahead of one of the dances. And actually we bring some drums in, and George sometimes picks it up and will drum because he actually did djembe drumming as well back in Ghana when he was a kid. So last time he picked it up, I think if you go on my Instagram, you can see some video of it. He'll start going on the djembe, and there's something about it that's just so tribal and just awesome. And you feel connected. You feel connected to Mother Earth. You feel connected to your spirit. And, you know, it makes sense. This is what people around the world do. It's, you know, again, it's celebration and it's connection. So we're just coming back to our ancestral roots.
It's funny, too, because dance has the ability to pull out emotions, I think, that you weren't even aware that you were holding in. And we know that when we trap emotions inside of our bodies, it can be poisonous to us. We hold such tension and sometimes anger and hate and really nasty things in our bodies. When we dance, especially the 5 rhythms, when you get to the point where you've stopped looking around and that you're looking more inward, you can really release a lot of toxic emotions that you were holding in.
And, you know, that ties in completely with all the other talks we've done, Brenda, because I always bring it into a theme around a chakra and a color, because we hold our thoughts and feelings in our chakra centers. So this all ties together with what I do on a regular basis. So you're so right. So, for example, we started the year with red. We actually did red and purple, which is the root and the crown, which has to do about grounding ourselves, but connection to community, because we were coming back after the pandemic break. Then we just had in February the color orange, which was about joy and present moment. We had a tropical ecstatic dance to feel like we were away with a lot of tropical music.
Nice.
Then we've got this month coming Shine Your Light, which connects into the yellow, the solar plexus chakra, which is about your empowerment center, about your positivity, getting rid of judgment, and finding courage and courage to shine your light. Then we're actually going to be moving into green for the next dance that we have, which is connection to Mother Earth and healing Mother Earth. So as we dance, I'm bringing in, this is my specific thing. Not every dance does this, but I do, bringing in the chakras and bringing in the colors. So we can work on that at the same time and move those negative thoughts and feelings out of the way. Just drop them and leave them so that we can then go home much clearer than we came in.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice way to end the winter too.
Isn't it?
Connecting to the green, bringing the green into your life in whatever way that looks for you, and rooting yourself into the spring that's ahead. That's a really nice way of ending the winter.
Well, and orange and yellow are two of the best colors for winter because we're missing the sunshine and we're missing color. So, and we're missing play because we're not outside. We're not playing as much in Canada as we should be. So orange and yellow actually are the two best colors for seasonal affective disorder. And so interestingly, they're also the two that we just had the orange, and now we're moving into the March with the yellow. So yeah, great colors. But we're going to move through the chakras as we're moving through the dance.
Another element there that will just enhance the whole evening.
Yeah, it all connects, right? I mean, my whole goal is to really help people move through those challenges and changes and to feel lighter and shine brighter. So as my website says, it's all about releasing so that we can really live life happier and more colorful.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like the opposite thing to do, but I will tell you that I know 2 grief counselors who swear by ecstatic dance as a way of physically moving through grief. And, it sounds ridiculous. I'm going to go out and dance my sillies out because I'm grieving over the death of a loved one. I can't tell you how good it is to help work your way through grief. And grief doesn't just mean the death of someone. It could be the breaking up of a relationship. It could be someone leaving you and moving somewhere else, and you're going to miss them, or you do miss them desperately. So we grieve for a lot of different things in life, and it's a wonderful way to work through that grief.
Well, and that gets to the deeper layer. So you're not just dancing sillies out. You're dancing, again, a language and allowing those thoughts and feelings to come out. So you're 100% right. And, when I went through my recent breakup, I danced. That's how I healed my heart. I would cry sometimes when I danced, but then I would laugh and I would feel free and I'd come back to me. And so 100%, I mean, you can just come and dance because you just want to dance. But if you really start diving into this as a modality for healing and do it as a structured religious thing to do for your own healing, you're going to get deeper and deeper and keep peeling back those layers so that a dance isn't just a dance, but it's actually a way to find healing in your life. Mm-hmm. So you're 100% right.
It's a safe environment so that if you do have a release and you find yourself in tears, there are people there who can catch you. You're not going to crash and burn. There's always someone within the group who will catch you if you need catching.
100%. And I check in with everybody. So because we don't talk on the dance floor, I tell everybody, if I look at you, I'm always like kind of saying, are you okay? And I'll give a thumbs up. Like, give me a thumbs up if you're good, or if you're not, then, I'll help you. And so people can give me the thumbs up, or, they can be like, and then, I can take them to the side. We can talk, we can go out, we can do whatever. So yeah. And I'm the facilitator. I'm always there for you. 100%. As much as I'm dancing, I'm there for everybody first and foremost. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What a lovely space. It is a lovely space. And I have been to your ecstatic dance before, so I can tell the listeners that it is a safe and lovely, lovely experience.
Thanks. And we have twinkle lights, and we have like special lights, and I bring my fake palm tree. We try to make it like really fun, right? Yeah. And it's really great. I was just thinking, Gabrielle Roth had a line I just wanted to share because it touched on what you just said. where she says, a picture tells 1,000 words, but one deep dance will tell millions. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what you were just saying.
Yeah, for sure.
So
isn't that neat? And of course, if you delve into ancient dances, many of the ancient dances told a story.
Yes.
So when you go to a static dance, with the way that the 5 rhythms work, you can easily tell your story through movement.
And sometimes you don't even know your own story until after the dance.
Mm-hmm.
I had that happen with someone just this last dance. She was so contemplative, and she was like, wow, like I didn't even know this existed. And so not the dance, but the feelings, right? And the release. So her story came after. Her body told her, her body showed her. So that was really cool. So you don't always have to know. And again, this is the cool thing, right? Like you don't have to, like you said about the 2-step, and you don't have to know. You don't have to come in and say, oh my God, I don't know how to dance. Yeah, you do. Do you move? Because if you move, then you're dancing.
Yeah.
So
if you watch a baby lying on their back and their hands are just moving and their feet are moving, and that beautiful stage when they discover that the feet are actually theirs, and they chew on them and they touch them. And when we can touch our own bodies when we're dancing in ways that honor our physical body, I think it's a wonderful thing to do. Tap your arm and say, good job, fella. You've been helping me out for a number of years now, and you've done a great job.
Exactly. And, I come back to our bodies want to move. They do. We're meant to move. Anyone knows, heaven forbid, if anybody has no movement, their body deteriorates much faster. So we need that movement, and it's just a beautiful way to connect with yourself. I always say, it's a beautiful way to get an hour and a half of time just for you, to connect with great people, especially if you feel like you're alone a lot in this life, or you're on your own. For me, I'm a single woman. I don't always have that partner to go out with. So this is a place I can come and enjoy socializing, enjoy dancing, enjoy music, and then go home. And it's great. So it's for so many different reasons, but we try to make it fun. And I love, love, love the Vandorf Community Center. It's so cute with like a fireplace and a mantle, and it's just looking out to nature. And I can't wait for the summer when we'll be able to like see sunsets. And
there's lots of free parking. It's not like going to downtown Toronto where you have to find parking and pay through the nose for parking. You're in Whitchurch, Stouffville, and it's free parking.
Yeah, that's great. It really is.
Yeah, that's a big selling feature for me. And you don't have to travel so far. I mean, for listeners in the Stouffville area, it's a 10 to 15 minute drive over to the Whitchurch Stouffville Museum site.
Yeah, it's right on Woodbine, in between Aurora Road and Bloomington. So it's super close. So even for people that are coming up from the city that want to come up, because again, my dances are a bit different with more of, the Gania DJ. It's a little bit different. That people that want to come up, it's just 2 minutes off the highway. It's not far at all.
No, it's not. It's right close to the 404, and it's close for anyone who lives in Aurora or Newmarket. It's very accessible, and it's a lovely space. You're right. So I would encourage anyone
running them. I was going to say, I think I could be wrong, but from what I know, it's the only one in York Region right now. So,
wow.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing it for about 7 years. So if there is more, then I don't know of them yet, but I know that for me, I'm the one north of the city that everybody talks about and comes to.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? I wish you the best of luck with them. I'm going to make sure that I write that down on my calendar because I would like to go as well. And I hope that some of the listeners really give it a try. And, there's all kinds of different videos and things online of the 5 rhythms. So you can just Google 5 rhythms. You can get a hold of Angela here and find out more about it. And I'm going to say, don't be shy. And I know that sounds trite, and I don't mean it to be. I'm just saying that's the only thing I can think of to say for people who may just be a little hesitant. Try it out. If you don't like it, you don't have to go back, but it's so worthwhile to try.
Definitely. Like I said, I'll give them their money back, which I have yet to do that with anybody, but I'm happy to do it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But you never know till you try. And I haven't had anybody who hasn't loved it yet.
Well, there you go. That speaks volumes, doesn't it?
I guess. And if you're the person who doesn't love it, it's okay.
Okay.
To each their own.
How do we get a hold of you? One more time.
Best thing is heavenandearth.ca. That's where you can find my YouTube, my Instagram, my email, my phone number, everything. So heavenandearth.ca.
And then from there, people can get a hold of you. They can ask you questions. They can get their promo code. And
you got it.
It's March 21st, you said?
Yes, the next one's March 21st. And hopefully I'll have my last ecstatic dance up on YouTube soon so you can hear that music as well. And just come try it out. But I'm looking forward to the Shine Your Light theme.
Yeah, that sounds really good, especially because it's in the evening too.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Well,
Thanks,
Angela,
Brenda.
as always, it's a pleasure to talk with you. And can you give us a little bit of an idea of what else Heaven and Earth does?
Oh, thanks. So, I've come back to my company roots after all these years. So Live Life Colorfully, as you know me by, is now just my product line. But Heaven and Earth is actually focused on helping people through the challenges and changes. So doing it as a spiritual guide, which I've been for over 20 years, as well as a medium. So I do a lot of one-on-one sessions with people who really want to dive in and find out what's going on. I have a membership group that we meet every second Wednesday to talk personal development and helping each other in community. Run the dances, which also helps you personally release and work through that happiness and healing. And if anything, like I said, there's over 100 videos on YouTube with color psychology. So many different things. But everything I try to do is to really help people manage through life, because life's not easy. It's a tough ride. But when we really look at the blessings, we can move forward with happiness and detox those thoughts and feelings.
Well, that sounds fantastic. So once again, if you'd like to hear this podcast again, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Freshwaves Radio. And while you're there, check out the other broadcasts that we've done with Angela. And some of them are listed under Angela Dacey, some are Angela Dawn. And we hope to see you all at Ecstatic Dance.
I'd love that. That'd be amazing. Thanks so much for letting me share this, because it is such a phenomenal community. And once you know about it, you'll get addicted.